Basketball is a physically demanding sport, and a demanding 82-game schedule squeezed into 5 months takes a toll on players' bodies. Injuries are an inevitable part of the game, but thanks to advances in sports science and medicine, we don't see as many that end careers as we once did. In this video, we'll discuss players whose primes were cut short for medical reasons. These are the greatest NBA careers that were destroyed by injuries. Brandon Roy. After 4 years at the University of Washington, Brandon Roy was selected 6th overall in the 2006 NBA draft. He immediately stood out from the rest of his draft class, averaging 16.8 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Unfortunately, his career was ended by a bad knee, but Roy was the real deal and was on the path to surpass Kobe and Wade as the best shooting guard in the game before getting hurt. After 3 All-Star seasons in which he averaged over 20 points and 5 assists, his numbers dropped to 12.2 points and 2.7 assists after that year, and despite Portland offering him a max extension, their investment was shown to be in vain. Any issues that had bothered Brandon since college began to add up because Roy had to remove a piece of cartilage, and his knees were deteriorating quickly. The Timberwolves gave him another chance during the 2012 to 2013 campaign, but after just 5 games, Roy's knees declined to play basketball. Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose tore his ACL in the 2012 playoffs against Philadelphia. The NBA's brightest young star had been dealing with injuries all season, but it was evident that he was even better than he had been in his 2011 MVP campaign. This could have been due to bad luck, a rigorous practice schedule, or Murphy's Law, which states that if you jump high enough, you will break something. Together with Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose was the most explosive point guard in the history of the sport, but even after fully recovering from his knee injury, Rose was never the same player. Although he is still a good scorer, he is no longer a superstar, and he no longer performs any vertical moves. I also can't recall the last time he dunked the ball. Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway was one of the best point guards in the NBA in the early mid-1990s. At 6 feet 7 inches, Hardaway was quick and athletic and could do it all. Score, pass, rebound, you name it. He also owned the most famous bobblehead in the league's history and executed some of the most spectacular kicks. He was the star guard the NBA needed when Michael Jordan retired after just 4 seasons. With the help of Shaquille O'Neal and Horace Grant, Hardaway led Orlando to the 1995 NBA Finals, averaging 19.7 points, 4.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists, and 2 steals. In 1998, a devastating knee injury ended his season after 19 games, and he appeared washed upon his return. As a result, Orlando traded him to Phoenix, where the Arizona Sun did him well and Penny began to play like his old self, averaging 16.9 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 5.3 assists on 47 shooting. At the age of 29, another knee injury forced him to miss practically the whole 2000 to 2001 season. His agility was drained after that, and he went from being a star to a role player. He eventually retired in 2008 after having a final career stat line of points, 5.8 rebounds, and 5.3 assists on 47 shooting. Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas was in excellent form from his second season in 2002 through his final All-Star year in 2007. He was averaging 24.4 points, 4.4 rebounds, and 5.7 assists per game. Agent Zero, also known as Abachi, was a cross between John Wall and Dame Lillard. He was one of the fastest guards with the ball and could shoot it from long range. For those of you who are unfamiliar, Gilbert Arenas once had a successful season in 2011, but with the injuries and the gun incident, serious basketball was behind him. He peaked at the age of 25 when he averaged 28-6, and unfortunately it was all downhill from there. At the time, Kobe was on the first team all-defense, and Arenas dropped 60 on him, but then his knees gave out on him and he never played basketball after that. Bill Walton. Nobody believed that success could be duplicated after Kareem won 3 NCAA championships and all the individual honors, but Bill Walton came close. The red-headed center won 3 National Player of the Year awards in addition to 2 NCAA championships. His University of Toledo Bruins won 88 consecutive games during their championship runs. In the 1973 finals, Bill scored 44 points on 21 of 22 field goal attempts, which is still regarded as the best game in NCAA history. Walton shot 65% from the field. At UCLA, he averaged 20.3 points, 15.7 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. Of course, he was the first pick in the draft, and it was with him that Portland began its tradition of selecting star players with extensive medical histories. Walton's injuries began in his final year of college, and during his first 2 NBA seasons, they just kept coming. He had chronic foot problems, as well as numerous misplaced toes, broken wrists, and multiple fingers. When he was finally healthy with averages of 18.5 points, 19 rebounds, and 5.2 assists and 3.7 blocks per game, he was awarded Finals MVP. He was then only partially healthy for one more year, and over the following 4 seasons, he only managed to play 14 games due to foot injuries. Despite everyone's expectations, he was able to play a few more respectable seasons with the Clippers and the Celtics, where he won his second championship as a role player. If he hadn't been injured, he undoubtedly would have been considered the best center of all time. Let's take a moment to recognize some of the finest athletes whose injuries have ended their careers. Ralph Sampson, whose career was cut short by knee injuries, was a reliable 20-10 player in Houston. Brad Daugherty was a 5-time All-Star in just 8 years before being forced to retire at age 28 due to a back injury. Amari Stoudemire, Chris Webber, Chris Bosh, Larry Johnson, Pete Maravich, and a few others are among the outstanding people whose careers may have been much greater and longer if it weren't for poor health. Let us know if we left anyone out in the comments.